Olá, boa noite. Carl Munton here with the Good Evening Portugal live stream. And of course, on a Wednesday, if I move my screen just a little bit, look. Ola Americas. And Munson here, self-confessed Lusophile here in Portugal, in Anadia, to be specific, in the Aveiro district. And this is Wednesday evening of the Good Evening Portugal live stream, where we attempt to reach out to people on the other side of the Atlantic. So by my calculations, if I just have a quick look at the graphic I made, it should be 2 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Eastern, which gives you a much better chance listening over there than it would if you joined us on the Good Morning Portugal live stream at 9 o'clock our time, Portugal time, in the morning. So a leisurely chat, really. This is the way we roll here on Good Morning Portugal and Good Evening Portugal. And check out our blog in between time. We also have a YouTube channel and a podcast. So we're doing everything we can to serve you and your interest in perhaps moving to Portugal or even just visiting. Some people are full on hoping to create a new life here. So we can certainly help with that with any advice in our laid back and friendly way. And we're doing our best to serve all of North and South America. Look, there's a maple leaf behind me, the more traditional American eagle. And I've yet to incorporate South America somehow in that rather messy image behind me. But do join us tonight. Have a chat. You can even call me if you want. My number is, let me just put that in the comments, actually. I'll just type this into the comments. So call a studio. You'll need to use the Portuguese country code if you are calling from the United States or Canada or anywhere else on the other side of the Atlantic. So that's 00351 913-590-303. And let me just put that in the comments. Give us a buzz. We're all plugged in and ready to go on that. And you can, of course, connect with me on WhatsApp via that number if you want to call me at any other time with any other help you're looking for on this side of the pond. So we'll have a look at the weather tonight. We will have a look. Oh, I forgot to bring the bottle over. Tomorrow evening is the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. And we have a tasting of Portuguese wine as we make a journey around Portugal every Thursday evening at 9. And we're very delighted tomorrow because our friend Lisa over there in the States, who was previously in the Azores and now has returned to the United States, held back by the lockdown, I believe, has found the Cabrige wine that she'll be tasting with us tomorrow evening. So we're really doing a transatlantic wine tasting. She's a bit shy. She won't be joining us on screen, but she and others who will want to get hold of the bottle of red that is the Cabrige Tinto, tell you more about that wonderful vineyard because it's a superb place to put on your itinerary if you're thinking of touring Portugal and visiting. If you live here, you can just go and visit anytime you like. Also want to give you details of the session before the wine club tomorrow night in association with Expats Portugal. And we do a series of webinars called Portugal Calling. And tomorrow evening, we are comparing the cost of living between Portugal and America. So that should be interesting. And we've got real live people joining us, the expats, American expats who have joined us or who will be joining us. They're part of our community on Expats Portugal, but they'll be joining us tomorrow night to talk about their experience and their comparison of the cost of living between Portugal and the USA. So that should be fun. That's between 8 and 9 tomorrow, and then 9 o'clock straight onto the wine tasting and the Cabrige that I will tell you more about. So yes, weather, wine, webinar, a couple of news stories. There's a nice food festival that I'm going to tell you about in the Algarve. And of course, I want to just keep you abreast of what's going on in Portugal without it being too depressing. And I'm not sure I can do that on a day like today. The COVID count seems to be rising, and the atmosphere seems to be getting a little bit more serious. But I guess that's the case everywhere, right? We can talk about the Apollonia Wine Fair, and actually, whatever. I mean, Ronaldo scoring 100 goals for Portugal. There is a lot to say that is good about Portugal, and there are a few good news stories, but like the rest of the world at the moment, we are dominated, of course, by the pandemic. That said, Portugal have been doing very well in their reaction, the government reaction to the pandemic. So if you want to talk about that as well, do feel free to do that, or anything else that is on your mind to do with visiting or living in Portugal on this Good Evening Portugal edition, which is thoroughly transatlantic. So yeah, let me know. Is it 3, 4 or 5 p.m. for you over in the States this evening. In the studio at the moment, we are looking at 30 degrees, nearly 31. Outside, the probe dangling out of the studio window, just after 10, of course, here in Portugal, 22 degrees still nearly. So it's been a nice, warm and humid day today. And I'll tell you the weather around the country. I'll come back to your comment in a little while, Tim. If you want to call me and discuss that, feel free, 913-590-303. I mean, we can have a look at the numbers across the world for some sort of comparison as well. And as I go to my digital seaweed, which is what I call my weather report, I'm aware that I haven't done the conversion into Fahrenheit for you North Americans. So forgive me and see if you can do the mental arithmetic on this. But I think if we consider 21 to be comfortable room temperature, that gives you an idea, doesn't it? 21 degrees centigrade. Porto tonight is 20 degrees as we speak. 28 degrees to look forward to in the daytime tomorrow. And temperatures around that, just to give you an idea, actually, this time of year, we're heading towards autumn. Still a couple of weeks of summer, of course, to go. But this time of year in Porto, you're looking at, subject to climate change, of course, you're looking at the high 20s, cloudy week, a little bit of rain at the beginning of next week. In Lisbon, it's 21 degrees at the moment, 28 tomorrow, and a lovely sunny day there in the capital. And 30 for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. A cloudy end to the week, and possibility of rain on Sunday. Coimbra, central Portugal. If anything I say on the live stream doesn't make sense to you in terms of names or locations, just say so. This is informal and intended to be helpful and friendly. So don't worry about speaking out in the comments. No, there are no silly questions. And if they are, I won't draw any attention to it. I will answer them earnestly and helpfully. So Coimbra is the academic city of Portugal. Is there? I guess you might be getting a picture of me drinking wine all the time, because we were doing a wine tasting in Coimbra on Sunday night at the most wonderful little former grocery store, now a purveyor of fine Portuguese wines. And it was a great evening. Central Portugal, academic town. You know, think Oxford, think Cambridge. What would it be? What is the pinnacle of university life in the United States, for example? Think that, and then think Coimbra, but with black capes that inspired J.K. Rowling. Okay, 20 degrees there at the moment in the moonlight. 34 degrees to look forward to tomorrow. A bit of a sort of muggy and cloudy week, and then a cloudy weekend and possibility of rain on Monday. Faro, which most of you will probably be familiar with the Algarve. That Faro, could that be called the capital of the Algarve? I'm going to go with that. 23 degrees as we speak. 27 daytime temperature tomorrow, the high. Sunny day on Thursday and a cloudy weekend like the rest of Portugal. Now, I have other places to speak of if you want temperature comparisons. Aveiro, Beja, Braga, Castelo Branco, Évora, Leiria, Santarém, Viseu, and then more obscure still, Bragança. Apologies to anybody who lives in these places who says, Carl, they are not obscure. But I have these as C-list, but not in a judgmental or bad way. Guarda, Porto Alegre, Setúbal, Viana do Castelo, Vila Real, and the autonomous regions, of course, can give you a weather update, temperature comparison on the Azores and Madeira as well. So any of those places, if you want to know a little bit more, just ask. That's what we're here for this evening. Tim Mount, first to comment this evening. Where are you, Tim? Testing more, hence rise in the count. I'm with you there. And before we come back to that, double it and add 30 for Fahrenheit. Fantastic, Tim. That was obviously a thing in your line of work, I'm guessing. So Tim knows the formula there. Double what I'm giving you. So if we do that right now in Portugal, double it and add 30. If we look at, let's go to the capital this evening, and we've got Lisbon at 21, 42, 72, right? If my maths have served me correctly. Thank you for that, Tim. Really appreciate it. I must write that down. And here in Mira on the coast, is that, Tim? Just up from Tosha. Really, really good find that, my friend, if that's where you're living. Loving life in Mira. And that is a great find, because I found that by accident. A lot of people who are going to the Atlantic around Aveiro would obviously go to Barra, Costa Nova, come down south a little bit. And if it's the same Mira that Tim is talking about, it's a little seaside town. beloved by the Portuguese, but also I think quite a lot of Scandinavians and Germans, Northern Europeans like Mira as well, and probably the Spanish driving pretty much, driving west from Spain, and they can find themselves in Mira and Tocha, which are a little bit less touristy and intense than Aveiro. So good find, sir, if that's the Mira you are talking about there. Okay, thank you, Tim, for saying hi. We know there are other people watching, and it would be great to know who you are. If you're not, if you don't want to give you I suppose, you're on Facebook. If you don't want to give your name out, you'll have already had to create a pseudonym. So it may be that people don't want to out themselves or they're shy. But we're a friendly bunch here. As if some of the Good Morning Portugal regulars join us tonight, you'll see just exactly how friendly they are. So you're welcome, says Tim, near Figueira da Foz. So I'm still not sure if there's another Mira closer to the Foz, as it were, as I think some people call it, but still, Figueira da Foz, awesome seaside town, beloved by the Portuguese as well. So let's have a look at this Cabrige experience. And this is early days, I have to say, for the Ola Americas edition of the Good Evening Portugal phone-in chat show, whatever we're going to call it, live stream. I need to get it right for you. I need to find out what you want to know if you are the other side of the Atlantic and you want information about living in Portugal. So shout it out. Let me know. I mean, I'm making it up as I go along at the moment, as you may have guessed, thinking about what you might be interested in. And that's a little bit vague. So it would be great to hear it from the horse's mouth, as it were. And yes, from the horse's mouth, we were talking about colloquialisms, idioms, and little brilliant local vernacular turns of phrase last night on our news hour. So yes, from the horse's mouth. We found out last night, or it might have been this morning actually on the live stream, that an arm and a leg, which is the British way of saying something is expensive. I don't know if that's the same for Americans or Canadians, an arm and a leg, but it is the eyes of the face. You'll be paying with the eyes of the face if you're getting overcharged or paying or parting with too much cash in Portugal. So 1-0 to Portugal so far on those colloquialisms. Finally, oh, excellent, Chris, this is wonderful. Finally got a Facebook profile just for this show. That is an effort I completely acknowledge and respect and thank you for. So I do appreciate that. It's quite a commitment, isn't it, Facebook? And it can make people feel quite nauseous, quite frankly. But for us, the best way to do this for the time being, certainly until, in the white heat of technology, this gives way to a different sort of platform. I have to say, maybe I should whisper it, but I do have very mixed feelings about Facebook. But I do, on the other hand, feel very grateful that I'm able to do this free of charge on Facebook as well. So thank you, Facebook, if you're listening. And Chris, from the Midwest of the USA, what do you want to know? Okay, so a few people shouting out, saying hi. Let us know what time it is. Let us know what your temperature is. Thank you so much for signing up to Facebook just so you could tune in. And thank you for your use of the Portuguese as well. Olá, boa tarde, from the Midwest of the USA, from Chris Lotzau. I'm hoping I've pronounced that correctly, Lotzau. Marie Gervasi is here as well. And I've probably made a mess of pronouncing that as well. Hello from Ontario, Canada. There's your maple leaf behind me. Especially for you, Marie. Good evening to you in Ontario, Canada. What time are you there? Do tell me. And what can I do for you, basically? What can I do for you? If you want to get the cost of living comparison, join the Expats Portugal webinar, which I'll tell you more about in a little while. But book that in. It is an RSVP from 8 till 9 Portugal time tomorrow, which is GMT +1. So let me take you on a little tour of this beautiful wine producer vineyard. It's an experience, basically, Cabrige. This is the wine that we will be tasting with the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club tomorrow evening, and I want to share their beautiful visuals with you and have a little look about their website. There it is. And on a night like tonight, I have to say that a bottle of their white would be quite wonderful. Ice cold white Cabrige would be wonderful. They have a whole range of wines. I'm hoping to show you on the screen, but it's one of those flashy websites that it tells you what it wants to do. It doesn't necessarily let you just click on things to look at them. The main thing I want to tell you about with this is the restaurant experience. It is the Vindima at the moment, the wine gathering time. We had the feast of the Nativity of the Virgin Mary yesterday, which I know in wine-producing countries is a special time because it happens. It was September the 8th, obviously, yesterday, and that was the time of this particular festivity of the Nativity of the Virgin Mary, right in the middle of wine harvesting. And if you'll go into some churches in France, and I'm guessing probably in Spain, Italy, and Portugal as well, and you'll see grapevines and grapes attached to statues of the Virgin Mary in village churches or in wine-producing areas. But look at this. Discover the restaurant, taste the wines, visit the winery. And I know in North America, you have a lot of this sort of experience with your, and they're snootily called New World wines, aren't they, by British wine snobs? But there you go. And I know, it's probably fair to say, isn't it, that North America does wine tourism the best in the world class. But consider this as well. And there, look, cress. I was saying to my wife the other day, actually, in England in the 70s, you used to get like egg mayonnaise with cress like that chopped on the top. And I was thinking, who still puts cress on food? And is it due for a revival? And there it is right in front of me. What would they be called now? Cress sprouts, right? So let's have a scroll down. Immerse yourself in a unique wine tourism experience. Get ready for a trip to the table among typical Portuguese recipes where flavors and aromas intersect with a glass, or a good glass of wine, I should say, if you're at Coimbra in the Dow area. For dessert, nothing better than a guided tour of our wineries. So look at some of these visuals here. Oh, that's the crisp white I was looking for tonight. And my mouth is starting to water here, and my eyes are being drawn towards this food. And one of the TripAdvisor reviews here, this is one of those things that might be lost in translation, because a kid like no other, a table service like few others, an endless variety. And then I can't see what it says, but I'm thinking the kid there might be goat. I don't know what they mean with that review. Another TripAdvisor review here: delicious food in a refined space. I recommend ordering several dishes to share. Of course, try several quinta wines. Yeah, quinta is the Portuguese word for farm, and the wineries. I live on a former quinta myself and look out over a field of vineyards. It's absolutely wonderful. And there it is. Actually, I don't know if it is the Reserva we're trying tomorrow night, but it's the non-Reserva version of that, I think, that you see in front of you. And there, I believe, if my memory and knowledge of this culture serves me correctly, that is a plate of migas, which is a recipe of, it's kind of paysan cookery there, with cabbage and bread mixed up together, which is a lot tastier than I may have said it's made it sound there with my description of the ingredients. Very tasty, and an ideal accompaniment to this piece of codfish here, the bacalhau, with punched potatoes, I believe. The Portuguese like to punch their potatoes. So oven roasted, I would say, and then smacked to allow all that delicious buttery goodness in that sauce and olive oil to seep into the punched potatoes. And you can probably hear that my mouth is watering again. I'm reading it out myself. I'm making my own mouth water here. And look at these lovely visuals of the kind of experience that you're going to get at Coimbra there. And just to put it into perspective, I will share with you its location on the map of Portugal, because I think this is quite useful info, actually. I mean, you tell me if it is or not. Before I go there, before I show you where Coimbra and Carregal do Sol are in Portugal, in central Portugal, let me just go to your comments. Hello, Lisa, just talking about you. So looking forward to your company tomorrow night on the Coimbra tasting there. You see, I was going through the actual vineyard, a little tour of the vineyard. So probably 20 past 5 in the evening now, and 67 degrees in Maine. So not far off where we are. So quite warm for you and comfortable. Marie in Ontario, 5 p.m. and 17 degrees. Wow. Dropped from 30 when September arrived. So Canadians, you use the centigrade, right? By the sound of it, must do, sure. Okay, interesting. So I'm going to have to keep, but maybe I should go bilingual on temperature. I think I said bi-curious last week on the temperature. That's not right. Finally made it to an evening show. Well done, Eugene. I think you were with us this morning, weren't you? So good effort, sir. I'm here for both, obviously. So glad you can make it for both as well. So let me locate. Thank you, Eugene. Let me locate for you the position of the Coimbra vineyard, and perhaps we could take a little tour of the map while we're about it. Thank you to Google Maps. So as well as thanking Facebook tonight, browser can't access your screen. Try capturing a different screen to see if this continues. Sorry, tech issue. I'll try that one more time. I guess Google Maps is a lot to take in, right? On a screen share. Oh. Well, I've broken out into a sweat here. It's hot enough already, but that was a bit of a scare. And I'll try that share with you one more time. That's what happened. Crashed the show trying to share Google Maps and to show you where the Cabrij vineyard is. Just one more time to see if it works. Oh, there we go. That's great. I hope I'm still with you. What's happening? Says Gary Austin. You know that thing, Gary, where I try and share too many things on the screen. That's what happened. Cat got you. Now that is almost a wine tasting note, isn't it? Possibly for some wines. That tastes like the cat got my tongue there. I'm gonna make a little mental note of that. I might have to use that. Chris says in the Midwest there, going back to your wonderful comments, thank you. 31 and sunny here in the Midwest for Chris. And yeah, 23 minutes past 5 in the evening. Fantastic. So, okay, so I don't know how well you can see this Google Maps screen here. And I don't want that on this. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's gone now. Carregal de Sol. That is what we're looking at for the Cabrij. We can zoom right into the Cabrij vineyard there. Lovely part of the world, actually, Carregal de Sol. I'm sure there is another Carregal further south, down south of Lisbon as you go towards Setúbal. But as we zoom out from central Portugal here, I'll give you some more, some better known place names so that you can really see where this is in relationship to the rest of the country. But there we're looking at Carregal de Sol. Due west is Mira, which is what Tim was talking about earlier on, and Tosha, the lovely seaside town that I would also recommend. So up there, Ilhavo, as you can see, is south of Aveiro. Mira, the aforementioned. Coimbra, also mentioned tonight. That's a little further south. But let's zoom out and just get the big picture on Portugal here so you can see what's what. So Carregal de Sol over this way, Porto up there, Coimbra here. And as I keep zooming out, so you see the Iberian Peninsula, you will see that. So yeah, the Cabrij vineyard is around here. Yeah, I suppose, roughly speaking, Coimbra, halfway between Porto and Lisbon. But then look at all of that. So much further to go to get down through the Alentejo into the Algarve. So I hope you're enjoying this little bit of a geography lesson. Any other questions of place names and obscure parts of Portugal, fire them into the comments and we'll do what we can. But just to give you a location, I'm around just a little bit south west of Coimbra, 20 minutes away from Coimbra here. So there you have it. That is the Carregal de Sol location, the location of the Cabrij enterprise and the wine that we'll be tasting tomorrow night. So let's have a look at this event tomorrow evening. Oh, actually, a few more of your comments. I think we're okay now, I'm guessing. Back on screen and everything. Sound is all fine. We've got your temperature and time there, Chris. Thank you. Gary Austin, 27.3 degrees in the house. Whew, at 22:25 in the evening. Isn't it amazing, Gary? Tell me, and this I think will be some sort of help, I think, to our North American listeners, viewers tonight, because they will be, Americans do kit, equipment, gear really well, don't they? Gadgets and stuff like that. And I'm guessing that they might find some of our ways of insulating or cooling our homes here in Portugal a little bit quaint. Should we say that? A little bit quaint. What's your solution, Gary? Have you installed proper air conditioning in your house? I've just put an air conditioning unit in, and I've done a really eccentric thing because I couldn't vent it out anywhere close. So what I did was made a baffle for the front. Bear with me on this. This is a slightly odd thing I'm sharing with you, but I made a baffle for the front of the after much after much pestering from Mrs. M. I made a piece of timber, put a hole in it to put the duct of the air conditioning out through the flue of the chimney, thinking, how smart am I to do that? Obviously hoovered out the stove, the wood burning stove. So it goes into the front of the wood burning stove and then up the flue and out of the roof. And I'm thinking that's a really good way to get rid of the hot air of the stove. But what it's doing at the moment is heating up the stove. The hot air comes out the back of the air conditioning unit. So if you sat in front of the air conditioning unit, great. If you go anywhere near the stove now, it's hot to the touch because the hot air is just heating up the whole metal wood burning stove. Back to the drawing board, Carl. Tim Mountain, yeah, so we've got the location there on Mira. Neil Perkins is being very mysterious tonight with his empty comment, just to let us know he's there. Mr. Perkins, there you are. And Lisa, is that a sweltering emoticon with reference to your 67 degrees an hour? What are we now? 31 degrees here in Portugal, Lisa. Well, how did you find the temperatures in the Azores? And what would you say to other listeners? We are fact finding constantly here in on the Good Morning Portugal and Good Evening Portugal outings, morning and evening. What would you say to our listenership who want to know more about the Azores? Your quick commentary about the Azores, because that's where you were, right? Please tell me first if I'm right about that. But it's great to have first-person testimony and not the tour guide thing or the official website thing, but actually the experience of somebody who's been there. So, Lisa, do treat us to that in the comments if you will. I'm being called Heath Robinson with my. I think Tim may have sort of slightly given me a nod in terms of inventiveness, but laughing at the results, I think is what's going on there. And Lisa, no, not my 67 degrees. I'm cool and comfortable. Okay, yeah, 67 is pretty manageable, isn't it? If we take away 30 and halve it, that's not so bad, is it? But yeah, here, you're seeing these temperatures, aren't you? Upper 20s in the house still at nearly 10:30 in the evening. I'm not complaining. I just haven't adjusted properly to it yet. I have a portable unit. Yeah, in terms of air conditioning, I think North Americans need to know about this. I have a portable unit that can go through a sliding window, but it's very noisy. That's a bit rock and roll, throwing your portable unit through a sliding window, Gary. Yeah, they are noisy, aren't they? Is there an air conditioning system that isn't noisy? Eugene saying, thanks, Gary, for that. Eugene saying 12 degrees here in Donegal at 10:30. I look forward to 27-degree nights in Portugal. It's all relative, isn't it? It's all relative. Here's me and Gary, like struggling with the warmth, and you're so looking forward to it, Eugene, with your 12 degrees in Donegal this evening. Fantastic. Aren't us human beings amazing? So let's have a look at the Expats Portugal thing that's happening tomorrow night. I'll just call that up on the screen again at the risk of crashing the whole darn thing. There we go. That's worked all right. Portugal calling with my colleagues over at Expats Portugal, Astrid and Jerry. And tomorrow night hold on a minute, I've gone to the old. Oh, actually, whilst I'm here, you may like to know about these. Look at all of these that we've done already. How to buy, and these are all videos that you can watch. Please don't do it yet. Go back to them later. How to buy or rent a house in Portugal. New country, new school. Understanding the D7 residence visa for foreigners, and that's a retirement visa or self-funded or self-funded. Portugal calling, Portuguese citizenship, who you need to be, how you can do it, and when you can apply. That was a great one. And second outing with Peter von Noonan recently on how to buy or rent a property in Portugal. I need to go back to the calendar on Expats Portugal for the upcoming. So our calendar for tomorrow evening should show us this cost of living comparison. Here we go. Look, USA versus Portugal makes it sound very adversarial, doesn't it? The text here, let's read that. We're wondering what the cost of living is in Portugal compared with the USA. In this webinar, we invite Americans already living in Portugal, as well as those keen to make the transition. So yeah, comparing the cost of living tomorrow night from 8 until 9 Portuguese time, that's September the 10th. And you do need to RSVP. So let me just pop that link in the comments for you as well. So you can, if you want to, you can just RSVP and sign up for that, and we'll see you there tomorrow evening. So I'll stop the share on that, pop that into the comments box. And I see Xander's here tonight. Good evening to you in Texas. How warm is it for you this evening, Xander? Let's have a look as well at Neil. What Neil meant to say earlier on, our aircon is on full blast and all windows open. Yes, going against the probably the specification there, Neil, but it's just so hot on the Alentejo at the moment that you just are using every mechanism and every device available to you to try and keep cool. Tell me, what is the temperature in the Alentejo tonight for you, Neil Perkins? Having lived for too many years in Texas, I don't think I'll have a problem with the heat. The colds might need some adjusting to. Yes, this is it. This is the thing about Portugal. And when people say, you know, where's the best place to be in terms of temperature, weather, etc., the first question I would put to you in this regard, and thank you for prompting this, Xander, is do you want your main challenge to be warming up, or do you want your main challenge to be cooling down? And clearly, if we have somebody in northern Portugal tuned into tonight, they will say, yes, the problem for us is warming up in the winter. And that's even on the latitude that I'm on. It was wet and damp last winter and a bit miserable at times. Excuse me. And that's just slightly north of Coimbra. And of course, as you will have seen from Neil Perkins there with his aircon on full blast and all the windows open, his challenge is keeping cool. I don't think you ever have any problems in the Alentejo or the Algarve keeping warm, do you? Maybe just to put a pullover on occasionally as the night gets a little cooler, the night air. Hope this is helpful to you. Ask the questions whilst we've got the expats in Portugal tuned in. Ask them the questions, folks, that you need to know for your move here. Did you see the item about your dog in Portugal and controlled breeds? Oh, that's just a message to Xander there. We're all trying to help you, Xander. We want you here sooner rather than later as part of our expat community. I heard a rumor that expats moving to Portugal cannot buy a second-hand car or van and must buy new. Is there any truth to it, Carl? I know expats. I won't name them in case this is true, but I don't think there's any truth in that. I just don't see how that could be enforceable or practical. I know people who've bought second-hand vehicles, so you're not forced to buy new. There may be a reason for that and why people think that. And it might be advantageous in terms of tax relief. I know if you're an expat and you're canny enough to buy a commercial vehicle, you will get better terms and tax relief more so on a commercial vehicle than you will your domestic motor. So let's ask Neil and Gary about that. They're the sort of fellows who would know that sort of thing. I haven't bought a car here. I borrow and I hire. I borrow the cars of good pals, and I hire cars when I need them, and that's my preference. And I have a bicycle, so perhaps not the best person to ask, but I'm interested actually in buying a van, and I've never heard of that I should be buying one new. So sorry to be. Well, I was going to say I'm sorry to not be definitive. I think you're really sticking your neck out if you say give any definitive advice on anything in Portugal, because there is much interpretation of laws, and yeah, things change and so on. So take anyone who says that is definitely the case with a pinch of salt, and just move towards the kind of generalizations and precedents that have been set. That's probably the best thing to do. The open windows are our aircon. Oh, I see what you did there, Neil. Our aircon is on full blast. All the windows are open. I see. No, natural. Alentejo au natural. Old school Alentejo air conditioning. There he is, sitting there, probably just in his underpants and string vest, and wafting himself with an old bit of cardboard. Old school technology employed there. Anyone else help Eugene with that? It's a good question. And there are some funny things. There are vehicles here in Portugal that sound like they are a cross between a tractor and a motorbike under the hood, to use your phrase there, over on the other side of the Atlantic. And they are really expensive, but you don't have to have a license, I don't think. So you've got a lot of old boys who drive around in those, and there's a two-seater for them and their wife out here in the countryside. And you can hear them coming, chugging down the road, and you think it's a tractor. And you look and you see it's like the size of a Fiat 500, something like that. And these are vehicles where I don't think these old boys who probably never took a driving test don't have to have a license. A bit like the old days in the UK when you didn't have to have a license to drive a motorbike, I believe. So there's that, and there's also I think the cheap insurance on a two-seater van. So a lot of people will have ride a two-seater and have these vehicles that are like a bit of a hybrid of a hatchback look at the front and then a van at the back, so that they've got a cage on the back with no seats in the back. And then I think that's cheap insurance. So there's all sorts of funny loopholes. Just come over and find out for yourself, Eugene. But I've never heard anything about this second-hand car thing. Xander says, we just had a cold front go through. It's 4:30 in the afternoon, but only 68. But the humidity is through the roof. Good for the plants or not, Xander? Is that good for your garden or not? And Xander thanking Gary there. This is how we roll as a community. We heard something we weren't too keen on in one of Xander's posts, and we came to Xander's aid there, and hopefully that's helped. In a perfect world, says Xander, the beast has at most 2 years. Oh, this is a picture of a beautiful dog in our Happy Homesteaders group on Facebook. I don't think he'll handle the move well. Oh, wait, that's really kind and sounds right to me, Xander. Bless you and bless the dog. What's his name? Could you remind us what his name is? Fabulous photo that you posted in the Happy Homesteaders. Anyone can buy a second-hand vehicle. There you go. There's Neil sounding very authoritative. I thought so. I mean, that would be such a ridiculous and impractical rule, wouldn't it? Because the great thing about insurance here is, I mean, where I'm from in the UK, you have to sort of name drivers unless you have an expensive policy where any driver will do. In Portugal, as I understand it, if the owner says you can drive it, you drive on their insurance, and off you go. Very easy going, but that's Portugal for you. Are we talking about importing a vehicle or buying one here? Yeah, and that is a can of worms, or a can of Harry Marys if you're watching this morning. Importing vehicles and the matriculation of vehicles. To me, whenever I read a story about that, somebody saying, I've got my beloved Mercedes from 1980. I'm thinking of bringing it into Portugal and matriculating it. How much do you think it'll cost? And people say, well, I did mine. It cost me 30 grand or whatever. It just seems, you've got to have more money than sense or be seriously attached to your vehicle. So a bit more background there, Eugene, and we'll see what we can do to help you. Mark's in tonight as well. Mark Rigby, hello to you, Mark. Thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel, sir, at my request earlier on today. Please, anyone who is a YouTube user, do subscribe to our channel. It really helps. I've heard that buying new or used cars in Portugal is expensive. That's true. If already in Europe, maybe best to bring a car into Portugal. Yeah, I think it's probably easier to bring a left-hand drive into Portugal rather than the right-hand drive over from the UK. But again, I'm not sure. And Portugal have flouted, I think, some EU law with all these added expenses, because free movement should include your vehicle, right? And it's been quite punitive, I believe, with vehicle duties for importation that they're not supposed to be doing, and that has been challenged, I think, by Central Europe, if I may refer to it like that. Buying in Portugal, Gary. Yeah, we're going to go with Eugene. We're going to go with anyone can buy a second-hand car. We know people who've done it, so we're going to go with that. Lisa, Terceira Azores is where I was locked down March to July. Stunningly beautiful. This is okay, fantastic. So here we go. This is Lisa's first-hand testimony of being in the Azores, as we call them, or Azores. Stunningly beautiful, laid-back lifestyle, much like going back in time in many years. Not as hot in June and July as it was for you on the continent. I think the warmest day was 23 degrees. Sorry, I'm rusty on my F to C conversion, but while I was there, I had my weather app set to centigrade. So I remember thinking 23 degrees is about as warm as I could stand. If when I move there, I will invest in window and ceiling fans. Okay, so you like it so much, you want to buy there. Fair enough, Lisa. And were you there just on a holiday and then you got locked down for March, April, May, June, and July? That's amazing. These are the stories we'll be telling our grandchildren, right? As we look in the photo album and the kids are saying, and that's if we're not all constantly wearing masks by the time our grandchildren are born or that generation are born. But they'll be thinking, why is your face covered up, granddad or grandma? Well, that was 2020. It was a funny old year. It really was. And that's why you pay so much tax now to the grandkids. And then you can tell them a story of how you were locked down. And I want to call you Lockdown Lisa now. So what a lovely story to be able to tell. And it worked well for you. I mean, there are many worse places and circumstances to be locked down in, right? So nice one, Lisa. And thank you for that report on the Azores there. We bought a 14-year-old old dog, Sally, with us. I thought you said about a car. We bought an old 14-year-old dog, Sally, with us, and I think it gave her a new lease of life. Interesting. Xander's dog, who we're talking about there, is You the Guy. It's like, you the man, you the guy. You the guy. My daughter named him. It's slurring together. Yeah, you're the guy. You the guy. So if you're in the park walking your dog, Xander, and you shout out, you the guy, do all the men in the park look round at that point? Did your daughter really think that through? But it's obviously stuck. Humidity for plants depends how susceptible they are to fungus and mold. Okay, fingers crossed there then. And yes, says Lisa, a 2-week holiday in the Azores turned to 4 months with a love heart. Boom! Yes, fantastic. Sorry, can't come home. I'm not allowed. That's wonderful. Do they even sell ceiling fans in Europe? I've never seen a single one over there. Chris, yes, absolutely. Some people call that air conditioning, in fact. And very quaint they can be too. Yes, with a little ring pull. Sorry, not a ring pull. Yeah, a pull chain with a 3-speed pull chain. Very old-fashioned, sometimes with an integral lighting in them as well. And irresistible when you're a kid, right? To just get it on full speed and throw things up into the ceiling to see what happens to them. So yeah, you can buy ceiling fans here, and if you can't get the one you want, or am I thinking are we on cross purposes here? Do you have a different idea of what a ceiling fan is in the Midwest of America to the thing I'm thinking of? I'm definitely thinking of like a light fitting with a pull chain on it and a big fan. Like hellish dangerous, really, if it's not properly installed and falls down one day, crashing the lights onto the table or the floor. But is that the ceiling fan you have in mind? No problem buying here. Just be prepared for used cars with moon mileages on them. That's what, to the moon and back, is it, Gary? I looked at, I said I'm interested in buying a van or a minibus. And I looked at this. They wanted 5. To give you an idea, near to me, somebody was advertising a Ford Transit van. Didn't look too old, didn't look too shabby, but I think it had done like 250,000 kilometers on the clock. Amazing. So I think that's good advice from Gary there. Yes, you can buy a second-hand car, Eugene. We're going to go with that, but be prepared for a massive. It's a kilometerage, Gary, of course, isn't it? So what you're looking at on there is kilometers, not miles, if I'm correct. I need that verified, so I'm not peddling fake news. And yes, laughing emoticon for Lisa for her good luck. And she had, yes, lots of rainbows in April. That's an Azores thing, is it? And Xander, he's a filia. He doesn't go to the park, probably why they're forbidden. Oh, okay. This. Isn't it sad that arbitrarily, governments around the world have just done bans on dogs um, based on the breed, and not. I know, it's like COVID, isn't it? We're dealing with public health, and you just have to go on numbers, don't you? Sadly, and that comes at a cost to beautiful soppy dogs who just happen to have been born the wrong breed. I mean, I've known a few Rottweilers in my time, a fearsome beast to look at if ever there was one, but the most beautiful, gentle nature. And people say this, don't they, about staffies, about bulldogs, and obviously your Filia dog there, Filia Brasilia dog that you've got there, Xander, who has, look at this, check you out. I have a private park actually with a pond I bring him to. So that's good. I hope you're able to find accommodation in Portugal to the standard to which you have become accustomed. I'm sure you will. If we do the comparison tomorrow night on that webinar of Portugal and the USA, I imagine you'll be able to buy quite a lot of private park and pond here for the money spent in Texas. Just my guess. So thank you for the background on your wonderful dog, Udagai, there. Let's have a look at this forgotten food festival coming to a close in the Algarve, but I'm trying to give you a little taste of life in Portugal, and because I think that's what this show might be about, to give you folks on the other side of the Atlantic who are interested in coming here just a flavour. That's why I call myself a losophile, not a loser, but a losophile. Luso is what would that be called? A description synonymous with Portugal. Luso is just down the road from me, the town of Luso, but I guess, Lusitania, ancient name of Portugal, hence that little root there, and that little thing that's been made up, lusophile, for those who love Portuguese language, culture, and life. A little bit. Sorry, I've got to read this because this is about transits. Transits fitted with what's called a banana engine. The shape got solid no fuss unit. So that mileage is not too bad. They can go well over 400,000. Thank you, Gary. Amazing. We just have a mastermind collection here, don't we? A pub quiz, like an Olympic pub quiz team that knows about everything in this wonderful community of ours. Fantastic. And lol, it's not mine. I just have. Okay, all right, Xander. It's created a picture of you as being a loaded Texan. Does that mean something different in America? By that I mean rich. Whoops, got to be so careful with these things, haven't you? Talking of idioms and colloquialisms. But yeah, a wealthy Texan with your own private park. No, it's not mine. I just have access. Just to clear that up, Xander, it's borrowed. Okay, got it. Let's have a look then at this food festival in the Algarve. Like I was saying, just want to give you a taste of life in Portugal. What better way to do that than with wine and with food? The Forgotten Food Festival inches close to its end with the Cacela Velha picnic. The Algarve's Forgotten Food Festival is approaching its end with its last charm picnic. Let's find out, shall we, what a charm picnic is. Has anyone here been on one? It will take place on September the 12th in Cacela Velha. Say organisers, these picnics aim to recreate the eating habits of the mid-20th century, when many Algarvians would gather for picnics. Now, that has got to be a lot of fun. Portuguese people love their picnics and eating outdoors. You may become familiar with the Parque de Merendas, which blew me away when I first discovered it. These are civic amenities: car park, children's play area, and then the all-important communal barbecue surrounded by loads of fixed benches, okay, where Portuguese people gather as families and bring the most elaborate picnics, including blankets, tablecloths, not chandeliers and candelabras, but they might as well. I tell you, chilled beer, chilled wine, food grandma's cooked for an army, and it's all there in this Parque de Merendas, the public picnicking place. So how interesting would it be to get a sense of the eating habits of the mid-20th century when the Algarvians would gather for picnics? Let's find out more. Do excuse me. I'm going to just mute up my mic for a moment and have a sip of tea. Bear with me. Okay. It's not tea. I'm just used to saying that in the mornings. It is beautiful water. We have filtered it, but it's from the borehole outside. And it's not until I came to Portugal that I really I thought I loved water, but in this heat, it's like from heaven. Absolutely beautiful. Not beer or wine tonight, that's tomorrow night, but just Portuguese water. Absolutely beautiful. So refreshing. The picnics start with a small walk to the picnic site where participants will enjoy a special meal made by a chef using local ingredients to ensure non-Portuguese speakers, that's us lot mainly here, right, can enjoy the experience just as much as locals. An English translator is also present. It won't be me. Musical performances featuring the Algarve symbolic instrument, the accordion, so perhaps a little bit of pimba breaking out if the party really gets started, are also among the highlights of the picnics. But safety has not been forgotten, they're keen to add. This is a well-written press release, and they thought of everything. According to organisers, the picnics have been changed and adapted in order to respect all the guidelines from the National Health Board, the DGS, and ensure the safety of everyone while still maintaining their identity and essence. That is a beautiful turn of phrase, and something we could perhaps say to people when they're inviting us to parties. I will accept your invitation as long as there are appropriate safety measures that maintain my identity and my essence. Fantastic. Seats will be reserved and assigned beforehand, and guests will be seated in different picnic blankets according to the groups that are attending together in order to ensure social distance. They've got it covered. Sounds like a wedding though, doesn't it? Like you're on that blanket over there with the kids. The use of face masks is mandatory on arrival and during the check-in, but not, thank goodness, during the meals. This is a real flavour of life in Portugal at the moment, isn't it? And around the world, honestly. The festival will come to a close on October the 17th in Coimbra. Lulé. Lulé, beautiful place to visit. Put that on your list. I know this list is getting longer and longer all the time, but you got to go to Lulé, beautiful town. And for those of you who like a biological dentist, I know you Americans, North Americans looking at my teeth will not believe I've ever been to a dentist, but there is the most amazing man who is like a biological, non-invasive dentist, Mr. Featherfingers. I think people fly from America, I believe, to use him. Reinhardt in Lulé, an amazing dentist. You know, so he's like the equivalent of your free-range organic, locally produced dentist. He's got all those sort of credentials, and a very fascinating man as well, with a massive party here featuring live music, a market selling regional produce, an exhibition, and much more. Tickets €20 and €10 for children. Not bad, huh? The Forgotten Food Festival aims to shine the spotlight on traditional products that are disappearing from our tables because they are associated with poverty or have lost their agricultural value. Boom! Well done, Forgotten Food Festival, for shining this light here. That's really good. Yes, because what I might say now, it might sound a little bit sort of anti-Portuguese. It's not. It really isn't, because there is a context for it, and you can understand it. But yes, in the aims of becoming more modern and forging ahead, and being a thoroughly first world Western capitalist country, albeit centrist socialism, whatever. Portugal, yes, might be a little bit embarrassed about some of the old food that is associated with poverty. Not at Cabrige, which I showed you before. Migas, I think. I don't know. I would need the counsel of some Portuguese people here, but I did refer to that as a paysan sort of dish, didn't I, with its origins? I mean, if it's got cabbage and bread in it, you're guessing, aren't you, that it is like an old school rural peasant dish. Nothing wrong with that. And then this other part of it, the foods that has lost its agricultural value, that is a big loss, isn't it? Some of the most delicious and beautiful things don't get to the supermarket because they're hard to ship, store, handle, whatever, which includes some of the fruit here. Some of the fruit here is so sweet and delicious, but so fragile, it's never going to end up in a supermarket. And perhaps this is what happens at the Forgotten Food Festival. They deliver it on a hovercraft wrapped in bubble wrap or something. But I love the aims of this Forgotten Food Festival, and I would like to see this all over Portugal. It's one of the headlining events of the region's 365 Algarve cultural program, devised to improve the region's cultural agenda outside the summer season. That's a good idea. This year, however, it was extended into summer season due to the pandemic. And you can find out more there. That will be, won't it? Forgotten food in Portuguese, comida esquecida, comida esquecida, which has a lovely ring to it. I'm going to just make a note of that, I have to say, because I want to look into that further, probably for the Good Morning Portugal live stream. And hey, look at this advert. Must have heard us speaking. This is how advertising works now, doesn't it? You know, all our online conversations are being listened to, and they'll serve you up adverts to suit your tastes and preferences, and the eavesdropping that's gone on. Award-winning wines at great prices. Check out our wine shop for more details. The Quinta dos Vales Wine Estate. Tempted to click on that and have a look, but we are heading towards the end now. Just want to say, for those of you who do want to learn Portuguese, just want to share something with you very quickly. Before I go there, of course, I want to make sure I'm covering your comments and questions. Remember, every Wednesday it is Ola Americas, where we reach out to our North American pals, and we want your questions. We want to tell you what life is like from this side. It is like 100 years ago, isn't it? So, you know, reaching across. Early transmission, Marconi here, talking to you across the Atlantic Ocean. But yeah, that's the vibe. That's the vibe. We want to reach out, and we want you over here and want to enjoy the wonderful lifestyle that we do as well. Which part of the Americas do most people commonly come from, do you think? Just wondered if there was a general pattern. Is that a joke? General pattern? Is that like an American pun that you've worked into that question? Very good, Gary. If that was, if you did that, that's a very good reference to World War II. So yes, can anybody tell us? I guess you're all individuals from your own part, and you may not know about the general trends, but I think we can find out the answer to that question. It's a good question, Gary. Xander, oh my God, lol! Just realised I had my temperature set to. To Coimbra. That's like, are you sort of doing some creative visualization there, Xander, by, you know, making your life feel like you're already where you want to be? OMG, LOL, just realized the temperature set to Coimbra. It's actually 85 here in Texas, which is still okay. I thought 68 sounded crazy. Oh, that was, yeah, because of what did you have, a warm front or something? And another great question, actually, as we run out of time, is there a Porto, North Portugal equivalent to the Algarve Food Festival? Mark, we need to find out, don't we? And if not, we need to invite that festival here, because it sounds fantastic. What night is drinks, Carl? Tomorrow. The wine club, if that's what you're referring to, is tomorrow, and it is the Cabrige Tinto. Go to the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club community page, and you'll see there what our selection is this week. Is that wine number 11? I think we've tasted 11. I can't remember many of them, and that's not because I drink too much. It's because I've got a bad memory, which some of you will say, yes, of course, is related, but it's been a blur. You know, here we are. That's what, a couple of months, maybe 3 months later, 4 months possibly, of the wine club under the excellent leadership of Eloise Healy, who led us on Sunday night's foray into fine wine, including a beautiful port on Sunday. But Eloise is fantastic, and she'll be leading the way, unless she delegates suddenly to somebody tomorrow, which she might do. This is part of her charm and mercurial, or what is it? Capricious nature that she has and that we love so much. So yeah, what night is drinks? That's tomorrow. Or it's the right question to that every night, Eugene. I don't know. Or are you referring to the festival? I'm not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I mean, yeah, just generally speaking, what night is drinks? It's every night in Portugal. You know, this is a continental drinking country. It's not like binge drinking culture where I'm from in the UK. You know, good drink, good, you know, nice beer, good wine is just part of the culture, and it's every day if you want it, and people don't go crazy. I think it's really lovely. So yes, just very finally then, if that's not a very poor use of grammar, is that finally, or it's not? You can't be very finally or somewhat finally. I want to share with you the wonderful Mia Esmires and her approach to learning European Portuguese. Please do this if you're coming to Portugal. Get involved, and there's a free course you can enroll in here with Mia, who we talked to on the Good Morning Portugal live stream. Kickstart your Portuguese, learn the basics. A free online course will teach you how to introduce yourself and have basic interactions with locals in Portuguese. should we go into what is a basic interaction with a local? That's a fabulous. That leaves quite a lot to the imagination, and I think I will leave it to the imagination. The link. Oh, Filomena's here. Talking of learning Portuguese, now, folks, if you want a one-to-one tutor, talk to this lovely lady here, Filomena. May I ask why? Oh no, she's taking issue with my. Oh no, I've been busted by Filomena just right at the last minute on the live stream. Why, may I ask? You may, but I'm scared now. Ola Americas. Americas is a noun in the feminine plural, so it would be as Americas. But if your intention is to say hello Americas, it should be Ola Americas. Well, actually, what I want to say for a minute is hello the Americas. And where this all started was, it was like Ola America, which is people would think I'm just referring to the United States of America, thereby leaving out Canadians. And you can see on my screen I've put a maple leaf in because I want it to be North America. And I'm thinking, okay, then South America is going to feel left out, and we know that people from South America want to come. Obviously it's Brazil in South America, but other Venezuela, people are coming to Portugal from other South American countries. How do I say hello to all the Americas and be politically and geographically and culturally correct? And is that included in any of the options you've given there? So I should have asked Filomena first. And what I want to say about Filomena is do please, if you want one-to-one tuition, which you can do over Zoom, even if you're in America, I'm sure Filomena will do that. She's got used to that in COVID. Filomena Pascual is your person for that, is your Portuguese tutor. And also the link I've put there for Mia's free course as well. Do both. Seriously, I don't think you can get too many sources on your Portuguese tuition. So sign up for that. It's free, and have a chat with Filomena. And thank you for that point of order, Filomena. I do appreciate that. My observation from the other USA FB pages, going by that. But I see. This is the answer to Gary's question about where in America are people coming from to Portugal. Going by the ones that respond, it seems the bulk come from California and New England, which is actually where I'm from, just stuck in Texas right now. Those regions are similar to each other in their thinking. Okay, interesting. That people want to make the move from California and New England. Thank you for that, Xander. Much appreciated. And that confirms what Gary was thinking. I think we'll leave it there with me being brought to order by one of my Portuguese teachers, if I may refer to you as that, Filomena. And a quick correction: New England and New York not considered part of England. So so California, New England, and New York, the liberal states, right, that may be upset with the political direction. Am I putting that sensitively enough right now? So what I need is Ola Americas. I'm gonna have to redo the graphic again, but I'll do it. I have to do it. It's right. And I need a comma in there, do I? And of course, somebody else pointed out that the Ola should have an accent on it as well. So I have been schooled well and truly tonight, and I thank you for it, Filomena. I really do. I feel chastened but proud that I'll be having it correctly expressed by next Wednesday. And who knows, we might even have Fahrenheit as well. Hopefully, Anaconda doesn't want to come from Venezuela. Well, hey! Brilliant, Mark. A nice dad joke high note to end on. And Lisa will be with you tomorrow night after 9. Lisa, Xander and I are originally from the same area in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is such the best word, is it not? How did somewhere get called that? And I always think of the Bee Gees, of course, when the word Massachusetts, and I hear them singing it in my head. And I suspect as I go through now into our living room and take a cup of British tea to finish the day, I may break out into a Bee Gees falsetto and serenade Mrs. Munson, who I hope hasn't gone to bed and is still waiting for me. A lovely final greeting from Filomena. Beijinhos, boa noite. And I extend that to all of you. And thank you all for joining me tonight on this slightly extended version of what will be next week. Ola Americas. Boa noite.